Hamish had a question. Why do building surveys make our life so hard?
But we don't.
I agree.
Like I said, but I reckon if you asked 20 builders that aren't related at all, they're like, fucking building surveyors. Oh, they're making my life difficult. Why do you think that's the case? We're on your side, by the way. So this trust where this conversation is going.
No, that's all right. So effectively, if a builder's saying that, they're probably being picked up on something that they've done differently from the drawings.
Yeah.
So effectively, they've potentially breached Section 16, in which you must build to the documents that have been issued by the building surveyor. If you don't, and you change something, then you're the problem.
Yeah.
So the easiest way to do it is ask the building surveyor first. So the builder has obviously a talk to the owner and says, no, we want to change something. Yeah, no worries. But we need to discuss it with the designer. And also then the designer goes, well, we need to discuss it with the building surveyor and see what potentially is going to affect this.
Yep.
And then the building surveyor gets asked the question and he'll say, maybe an energy report needs to be redone, the engineering needs to be redone, it may trigger planning changes, it may trigger report and consents now.
Yeah.
So once the building surveyor or the inspector gets to the job to check something out and it's different, the building surveyor has to act. And the first question I ask is, I put in an email, why has this changed? And I give them a chance to respond and ask why, or say why has it changed? Because we did this. Well, tell me why Section 16 hasn't been breached.
Yeah.
So then I have to act. So I either issue a written direction to fix, to go back to the documents, or issue a building notice to show cause why they shouldn't demolish it and go back to the drawings.
So my brain's going everywhere.
Me too, actually.
And I've just realised we haven't introduced David from Permit Approvals Plus. This is how our brains work.
Yeah. So, Matt, you've been using David for a number of years.
I can remember the first time I actually met David.
Let's put that in context. Matt doesn't use me as a building surveyor.
That's a really good point.
I get appointed by the owner.
That's a really good point.
Right.
Yep.
And Matt is a regular builder that we come across.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a
and makes my life so much easier. I'm going to give any advice to a builder. I look at a building surveyor as like a free employee to check your work at certain stages of the build. It's a very easy way to describe it because you are getting ticked off to make sure you're doing things right.
So my clients...
Unfortunately, the risk then becomes a lot on you, which is a whole different conversation.
Well, yeah, building surveyor's there not to supervise the builder. You did all your schooling, you went to the BBA, you got your registration, right?
Yeah.
Take some responsibility for what you're doing. We are not... we are not a site supervisor.
Okay, can you just move that, please? How many times do you get told that? Can you do this for us?
What do you mean do
can you just move that for us or do this on site for us? Don't you get told or asked to be treated like a tradie sometimes? Don't some people treat you like crap?
Oh, look, most of the time we go to the site, there's no one there, right? So I like it when... If I go and do an inspection, and I don't do all my own inspections, I have contract inspectors. So that's one of the biggest furphies of people. They think that the building surveyor does the inspection all the time. That's not the case.
You're building.
So we we outsource, to inspectors, etc., like that. And then
you can't be everywhere at once.
No, that's right. Yeah, otherwise you wouldn't be a building surveyor doing work because there's too much work out there for you to just do everything.
Well, just like Matt and I aren't swinging a hammer every day.
Yeah, that's right.
But you are a building surveyor as well, so you're the one signing off on it. You're not the inspector as well. Well, you are, but...
Well, the inspector does a report,
Yep.
and then effectively I put that report and transfer it into a written direction to fix.
Yeah.
And then once the items are fixed or the engineer provides a comment, then obviously then it goes back to the inspector. They book in another inspection. He goes back, signs it off.
Yeah. Okay. Now, a big part of a building surveyor's role is often delivering what might be perceived as criticism or calling out non-compliance. So, as Hamish said, our audience is made up of builders, tradies, architects, homeowners. How do you approach these conversations? Because tradies don't like being told you don't know what I'm talking about. You're doing this wrong. Like they will take it wrong sometimes.
Yeah, but it's quite funny, sometimes you actually, if someone does get a little bit narky on site, I always say, well, what standard is that out of?
I've seen you hold your own. Don't worry.
And
It's
some
great.
people, some tradies can't tell you what standard they're actually working to and working under.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And that just like, is that just like unravels them, or
Do you know what I think? What I think it is that so I think people don't like being called out for something, especially when they're always going to become more defensive if they think that you're right. Like, say if you called me out on something and I was pretty confident that I was doing it right, but then there was a little bit in the back of my mind that was saying, "Well, hang on, maybe he is."
Well, we get called out all the time, building surveyors. Yeah, because every building surveyor, whilst all the Act and the regs and the standards and the NCC is all there, so I should say that the Act comes first,
Yep.
then the
Regulation.
regulations, then the BCA, then standards. So the BCA will override the standards, even though the BCA does note the standards in there. All right. So I get called out all the time because, this building surveyor let that go because of this. Or this building surveyor, he interprets it that way. So it is all about individual interpretation. And that's all we can do.
and that's probably
I'm quite
hard.
satisfied with what I interpret.
Yeah, and you're by far the most diligent when it comes to reviewing plans. Like, I've got some on site at the moment that I don't know. I don't even know if they've been looked at. I'll be really honest with you. I reckon they just signed off on it. I've got corrugated roof at 2 degrees all over the plan. Like, come on.
Here's a question for you: who's liable there? Whose responsibility is it there? Like, is it if the plans have been signed off by a building surveyor and the building permit's been issued, then all of a sudden there is corrugated iron at 2 degrees? Who's responsible for that? Because in my mind there's 3 layers.
It's a hard one because the designer should know. So the
there's
designer
4
puts,
layers there.
So the designer puts on there that it complies with ASS 3500.
Yeah.
So have they checked to make sure? But I mean, it's quite clear in the BCA exactly what's required,
Yeah.
what the minimum pitches are, etc.
And that's a really basic one.
Yeah, we do check pitches.
Yeah.
We check box gutter sizes. We check box gutter sizes in relation to that they're a minimum size.
Yeah.
Not that they can take the actual thing, because we're not involved in the design.
Yeah. Okay.
But I like to have, obviously, to make sure if there's sumps there, the rain head,
Yeah.
there's a detail, etc. So there are some. The biggest, one of the biggest items that we actually pick up on is that the computations don't match the schedule on the for the beam sizes on the engineering. Actually, we notice that a lot.
We get that a lot. Like,
Really?
can you go back and just change the date or the job number or...
For people that don't know, there's generally 3 documents that the engineer will provide. There's computations, there's the certificate, and then there's the engineering documents.
Mm-hmm.
What you're saying is you review all the comps?
Yep.
So you'll actually review all the computations?
It might be 120 pages.
Well, okay. So you're not just relying on the fact that they've issued a certificate, you're reading through it all?
Yep. Reading through their certificate to
I didn't
make
know
sure
that.
that they're properly, registered. All the parts of the BCA and the standards that they reference are all the applicable ones, and they're up to date in relation to the actual standard.
I love
current.
your face right now, Hamish.
I'm thinking of the volume of work that goes into that.
This is why I think building surveyors are not respected.
Yeah,
But
agree.
I think a lot of architects and builders don't respect building surveyors. I'm going to be really honest.
Yeah, I don't know whether I
like the
have
fun
no
police.
idea whether other building surveyors do that, but we want to make sure that the documentation is correct.
So
And can I just jump in here? As a builder, like, I'm running through my mind now, like, thinking of you reviewing all of that, because if I'm being honest with you,
I don't
I'm
read
not
them.
going through the computations.
I don't
I'm not
open them.
reading it. Like, I'm just trusting that certificate that's relating to that design and the computations is correct.
Most of the time, it's not.
Wow. Okay. Are
But
you-
you'll have a schedule. Let's say RB4 is a 360 by 45. You go to the computations, and vice versa. They may have done a 250 PFC on the schedule, but you go to the comps, it's timber beam,
Okay.
and they haven't given an or option.
An either or, yeah.
So I say, well,
Can you fix?
this RB4 doesn't match from the comps to the schedule, so we need to.
But the best
engineer
part
and sort of.
of what Dave and his team do is they do it up front. They do it at the start of the project, not at the end when everything's been built, because that's the issue I have with so many building surveys is that they do it right at the end of the project, asking for certificate for this, the compliance for that, the code mark for that. he asked for it up front.
I mean, I would have.
But the code mark has to be asked for up front.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
because
like,
in inverted commas, it is a performance solution report.
Yeah. I would argue that most of that stuff in the building surveyors that we work with would ask for all of that before they issued a building permit.
I had one recently. They just asked for my contract and insurance. That was it.
Don't name names.
No,
What was
I'm
that?
not. They just asked for my insurance and my contract. That was it. Nothing else. So maybe it got tied up before it that I didn't see. I wasn't privy to, but it's been a very different eye-opening experience compared to working with Dave so often than changing. And change is always hard. I understand that, and everyone does things differently. I can respect that, but I still remember the first day I actually met you. I was in West Footscray, and we were doing stump holes, and we hit rock everywhere. He made me go through every single hole with the crowbar and make me ding every single one of them.
Did you make Matt do it?
Yeah, that was when I was on the tools
Did
too.
Matt actually do that?
Sometimes I pick up the actual crowbar.
Yes,
Yes,
I've seen
it's
it.
easy to hear.
So I've got a set of documentations, engineering. So I would say almost 99.9% of the people who are referring to those set of documents are just looking at the engineering. They're not looking at the certificate. They're not looking at the comps.
No.
I know my team aren't anyway. So what happens if it does get through and there's a building permit issued and the comps here don't match what's on the drawings?
Well,
Where does the risk lie?
Well, let's say somewhere down the track beam fails and it hasn't been comped out, then who's liable?
Well, that's what I'm asking.
It's like a shared, it'd be almost semi-shared responsibility between you and the engineer. The issue is...
Well, I don't know. Is it my responsibility to check that their documentation when they're a registered
No,
practitioner?
I totally agree. That's that. So this is where I go back to, and when I have trades questioning the building surveyor, it's like, are you signing off on it? Because the only people that hold the license here today are me as a builder and the building surveyor.
I have seen, I'm pretty sure I've seen on the disciplinary register that an engineer did get disciplined for computations not matching the schedule.
Well, think about
Yeah,
Brad's
okay.
job that he did the hempcrete house with the beam, that he completely fucked up the hemp and got the dry weight, not the wet weight, and all the bearers were just completely 50 mil sag in the middle.
Yeah.
And he'd done the runner and gone.
Yeah. Well, yes, and then Yasha came in and saved the day on that one.
Look, it's not an easy industry, to be quite
Yeah.
honest. But from where I came from, I think it is relatively easy.
So you were a
Because
carpenter.
you're a chippy
by trade, yep.
Yeah.
Worked on domestic homes.
Yeah.
And then up the country with the old man. I was apprenticed with the old man.
Yeah, how'd that go?
Yeah, it was all right. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
hard, but yeah, can't begrudge him because he taught me a lot. So, yeah. And then up country, it kind of got a bit quiet. So, and he actually, he was a foreman, a general foreman, working on multi-stories in the city, Big Collins Place, Southern Cross, all that sort of stuff, works some big boys. So he goes, I'm going to go and get a job as a foreman, and then I'll rent you out to the construction company as the apprentice. So that's how I got into commercial construction. I ended up working my way up to site manager, looking after $90 million projects. And,
And that was probably back in the 70s when $90 million was a lot of money.
no, a bit not that old.
Arsehole. But I mean, I guess so.
You would have done Mark from MBH's work.
I'm just thinking about what sort of. I mean, all this stuff is really good to know because, when my experience is limited to you on my sites and what Matt is, but I know that Rory, who works for me, he's very particular with all the stuff that he does and has a very, very proud of the things that he does. And he even mentioned, he goes, oh shit, David checks over everything. I've never experienced this before, which is an amazing thing, by the way.
That's what we're supposed to do.
He measures wall heights, which is great.
I know you're supposed to do that, but this is the first time we've actually experienced that. But it actually makes sense. If you're looking after a $90 million project, you have to check all that stuff off.
Yeah. You have to be a very good organiser.
Yep.
Yeah, so spend time-wise.
Yep.
But yeah. Look, a lot of clients like the fact that I've got all the knowledge and that, and construction and everything like that, and I know about concreting, plastering, the whole lot, But others don't like it.
But this is what we're kind of getting at before.
Yeah.
Yeah, others don't like it.
Yeah.
I've had builders that I work with, got along absolutely fantastic. All of a sudden, something happened, and that was it. They had a job with the builder again.
Can you give an example?
And it wasn't my issue either. It was they actually.
So it's something that
incorrect.
you obviously had called them out on that didn't comply with.
Oh, I went to 3 double-story units. Get to site, it's all tiled.
Oh.
I walk in, into the ground floor, and I must admit, nothing much really scares me, but yeah, put the wind up me what I saw. So timber beams, supposed to be 3, there was only 2. They were wedged up with 2 90x45 studs underneath.
Yeah.
No angle-to-angle brackets or anything. What are you doing? Oh, the angles are coming. I said, well, why do you put the roof on? So we should have stopped work and building notice. And, he wasn't happy with me.
I'm trying to put myself in their shoes for 2 seconds. How can he not be happy with you?
So just for context, you're saying that the roofs were tiled. So roof
They were fully loaded.
fully loaded.
And
yeah,
were they meant to be,
fully
were they meant to be
loaded, yeah.
tin, or was it meant to be tin?
No, tile.
Yeah, but,
So it's actually
but the
just-
point is that nothing. It wasn't bracketed, braced.
No, but what I'm saying is I didn't know if they changed it from tin as
Yeah,
well,
okay.
so they added extra load onto
No,
it. So I
no,
know.
no.
But what I can't wrap my head around their thinking, like, you haven't done it. That's why Mr. Site Inspections has such a big following now, because he's just calling these people out for not doing things. Like, and it's created a scare tactic. I don't like the way he goes about it personally.
I mean,
But
you'd like him or love him. He's opened people's eyes to
I totally agree.
some of the things that are actually happening out there.
I can imagine, like, you've got no problem with confrontation, and then seeing that would have been like
In regard to
that structure falling or failing.
Oh, it was just ridiculous.
I don't even think it would come down to confrontation. Just be like,
Oh, there's no confrontation.
Yeah,
like,
there's-
what are you doing?
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And on the spot, he was like, "Nah, it's fine."
But the beams are bowing because he put the wrong size beams in. The engineer ended up going out there and he rang me and he said, "Oh my God,
Oh wow.
this is the worst I've seen." He goes, because I actually told him, I said, go and get a heap of acro props, put them in, right, and then get the engineer out. And so that was you must do that now.
yeah, because it was at risk of falling.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've had the same thing on another job. I actually referred that builder to the VBA.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are they the dumbest things you've seen on site, or have you seen some?
Look, I wanted to ask that question, and then I'm just like, oh, is that a?
No,
and like, I am curious. Like, I do want to know what is.
And it's not for like building porn, being the sense of like trying to call something that was just stupid. Like, I'm just interested to see like to me that's extremely stupid as a builder.
It is.
Like,
yeah.
is there anything that like tops that?
They're probably the worst two. Let's try to think.
There's one that you sent me that was quite funny though.
Yeah, look. So one was, and look, that's just, it was an owner builder, and yeah, really green and really lent on me for guidance and that, and
That's fine.
that's quite fine and that. But at the end of the day, they go and get their owner builder's consent certificate. They do the courses, and they're supposed to have a registered practitioner overseeing the work.
Yeah.
So it was a small job, but had pads, and the pads were actually poured in the front of the house in former tube.
Yep.
And he was going to grab a excavator and drop them in the holes and push them down.
I know. I was waiting. I've been watching your response here.
Yeah, so
It's like
soon
stupid.
I get to site, and I said, "What?" And he said they're out the front. I said, and I said to him, I said, "That's not how it goes, mate." I said, "You're supposed to pour it in the hole."
Did you laugh? Like, how do you not laugh?
No. So and it's just he was just a little bit inexperienced. That's it.
But I feel like it's a common theme. Like owner builders, I feel like either you are unreal because you've got so much knowledge and you've really gone all in it, or you're at the opposite end and you just, well, I'll just build my own house. It's 4 walls and a window. How can I'll just put it up together and off we go. I'll do what I want.
But I've had owner builders that have been absolutely on the ball.
Like James from Alter Eco
Absolutely.
did his own house, like would have nailed it. And he did.
Yeah.
And of course, they should be having a supervisor who is a registered practitioner.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's probably. Probably something that we should sort of expand on too. Like, it's not just as easy to go, oh, I'm an owner builder now, I can just start building. There are other layers around.
Well, you're supposed to engage subcontractors who are actually registered practitioners.
Yep.
So like
who provide
concreters,
insurances and
etc.,
yeah.
bricklayers, etc. But there's hardly any.
Isn't there one licensed bricklayer? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I don't know. So that's why, like you as a builders, right,
Yep.
you could actually say, right, I'm going to charge a fee for a supervisory role. So you're the registered practitioner.
But do I sign off on it?
If the cost of you supervising work's over $10,000, do you have to sign a contract and get warranty insurance?
So this
But
is
they're owner builder though, so I don't know.
So this is because you've now jogged in my brain. One thing that we see is like clients, oh, I'm going to supply the windows, or we want to do this trade, we want to bring our own trade. The reality is you need a separate building permit if you're going to supply anything over 10 grand.
You don't need a separate building permit.
But why should it go on my building permit? Wouldn't they need a license then to sign off on those things?
No, if anything's over $16,000 and they're going to supply and organise their own contractors to install, then it's an exclusion on your contract.
Yeah.
So they have to go and get owner builder's consent for that work. So the building permit will say that the builder is doing this, and then the owner's doing this.
So
it's part of the same thing, because you wouldn't be able to finish off your part without them finishing off their part.
Yeah, so hypothetically in the situation, so they might provide their own electrician. Electrician's a bad one because they're licensed. I'm going to provide my own joinery. Yeah,
and tops.
Yeah, so
that'd be well over 16,000.
Yeah, so they would now need a license, but there's two parts. They are the owner builder on that joinery, but two, now per the code, shouldn't that joinery person need to be licensed for doing work over $16,000 and also hold a license?
True, but technically you're still the registered builder on the project, so you are overseeing the work.
And correct me if I'm wrong.
So I should then charge
because
them.
you're still coordinating when they're going to come in and do their work, aren't they? So you're still in control of the site as a registered builder. So effectively you're doing supervisory for them, even though, because you're not going to say, the owner's not going to say, oh, I'm coming in tomorrow. And say, hang on a sec, we've got this and this, you can come in now, down the track.
This is a pretty good, now because it opens the door, because I'm the builder on that work, I can come in on when I want because I hold the license on that one. It's such a grey area, I feel.
I've got one at the moment where there's been during the construction where the owner's taken off the builder. So I've made it known that, well, I want to know what the work is being excluded.
Yep.
And I want to know how much it is. And if it is, then we'll have to amend the building permit, or they'll have to go and get owner builder's consent. But if the owner's just supplying and I said you're putting it in, the builder, then that's fine.
That's different. Yeah. I have no problem with them supplying some certain things, but like windows, I wouldn't let a client supply and have that outside the permit.
Well, you got to work out where they're from. Back in the day, they were from China and they had no Australian standard. But now they have an Australian standard.
Yeah, I mean, I've recently done a project where the clients have, and we've come into it late, and the builder that they were dealing with couldn't get insurance, and the clients had already paid for the SIPs.
Okay, okay.
They'd paid the deposit on the windows.
Did you just refund them and then pay them and then?
Oh, I mean, I won't go into all the details of like what we actually did and what the agreement was, but we came to an agreement that I was really comfortable with.
That's fair, okay.
That as a builder, because I know even if they sell that house tomorrow, and I've still got a warranty on a certain amount of the work that I've done on that site, but 100% of the time, if there's an issue, even if it's something that the clients have provided, I'm going to get a phone call first.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. The VBA or whoever they're called these days is going to go, oh, you're the builder. There's something wrong with the windows. You come and fix it. So I would actually have to go through the process of proving that I didn't supply the windows.
Well, this is what's happening now with the consumer first attitude of the Building Plumbing Commission, that with our insurance, where, and we're going to get someone to talk about this because it's quite a big change, that where they can go directly to the insurance company first before they even go to you potentially.
Yeah, it's a tricky topic to try and broach.
We're approaching it. Don't worry, we're getting someone on the talk through it.
So there's surveyors, there's land surveyors, and there's building surveyors. What's the difference? Let's just establish that really quickly.
Well, land surveyors will do a re-establishment survey of the property.
Yep.
They may do a feature survey as well of next door, where habitable rooms are, site levels, etc. They don't issue building permits.
Yep.
We don't do re-establishment
Yep.
surveys.
So then, during the build, so you're issuing a permit. What are the typical stages that you're coming in and checking?
Mandatory inspections.
Mandatory inspections.
So they're listed on the actual building permit,
Yep.
mandatory inspections. So let's say it's just a raft slab, so pre-slab. If it's on piers, obviously we need to go out and inspect the piers. So there's pre-slab reinforcement before the concrete's poured,
Yep.
frame,
Yep.
and then a final.
And then my follow-up question to this is, what other mandatory inspections that you think are missing?
A building surveyor can call any mandatory inspection that he deems that should be made under the Act and the regs.
That's really interesting. So what are the mandatory inspections that you think we should be?
Including,
Yeah.
I believe there should be a pre-plaster
Yep.
inspection.
Which would include what? What would you be looking at?
To make sure the trades haven't cut the shit out of the frame.
Yep.
Every
Yep.
plumber and electrician is
Yep.
probably just running around scared.
Yep. What about insulation and building wrap?
No.
I feel like that one should require some form of a stat deck from the builder. Like, it's really not hard to go around and inspect the wrap.
Well, you are signing a stat deck anyway. At the end of it, saying that you've built to the energy rating.
I think that's a whole different topic. I think verifying performance should be done by someone outside of the building surveyor.
What
If
about
that makes sense.
waterproofing?
I think that potentially waterproofing should be, but I believe that should be an independent consultant come in. Because you got to think that if a building surveyor does a waterproofing inspection, once he sees it and is let's say he's satisfied with it, what's to say that the tiler who's going to put a screed over the top hasn't nicked it with his shovel, chucking the screed in? What's to say that no one has got a screw in their boot or whatever and they've walked over the actual waterproof and cut it? What's to say?
Yeah.
Why isn't that a responsibility of the builder to make sure that before anything happens, that over the top of it, that it is, because once again,
That's
we
a
do
really
a
good
frame
point.
inspection and then we walk away and then the plumber and electrician come in and cut more than 25 mil out of a bottom plate or anything like that or stud. We don't know about it.
Yep.
So what's the chances of that going to happen with a membrane as well?
Yeah.
I know with our waterproofer, like, he waterproofs his tiling the day after it's all ready to go. Like, it does not
Yeah.
sit there.
My waterproofer and Tyler are the same. For the same person.
But it's I think that's, if you're getting a separate waterproofer, quite dangerous. It never works.
In my opinion, it doesn't make sense. And my Tyler is the one that's issuing the waterproofing certificate.
So are they licensed
Yeah.
for waterproofing too? Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Dave would have seen one.
So
How
I
are you doing?
I
that?
sign off on mine because I know he's.
So you provide the waterproofing certificate?
Yeah, well, I sign off on it myself. Yeah,
Huh, I wouldn't do that.
I've worked with Casey for 15 years and not once ever problem, and touch wood. But I also try. There's a trust thing, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, of course.
Like, I trust him more than
Yeah.
even your one, even though he gives a certificate, because does that make sense?
Yeah, like 100%. But yeah.
I'm not saying that, like, if I was using Casey for the first time, I would say be wary because, well, no, I've got.
I would
Yeah.
be, if I was using
Yeah.
him for the first time, I'd be asking for a waterproof
Yeah,
certificate.
yeah.
So as a building surveyor, you have a discretion to interpret the NCC and the Australian standards in a certain way. You also have the discretion of allowing builders to do works outside of their license. Is that correct? So say if I'm a licensed builder, a domestic builder, I can do Class 1A, 1B and Class 10 buildings?
Yeah, you're unlimited.
Yeah, unlimited, yep. But can I also do Class 3 under your discretion?
So there is a section, maybe not a section, but there's a definition of to do. What's
I
the
love
word
this
for it?
question.
A definition of a builder or an architect, etc. And it says that a builder must be unlimited to do domestic, a registered architect, so they can do the building without
on their own house only.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But where it says for non-domestic work, It says that it just has to be a registered practitioner. So it doesn't say unlimited, doesn't say commercial, it just says,
So cafe fit out, for example, can I do it?
well, potentially you could, as long as the building surveyor is satisfied that you are experienced enough to do it.
So what's the point of these commercial licenses then?
Once again, it's up to the building surveyor.
Yeah, okay.
That's
Effectively, there's some building surveyors that would downright say, nah, you need to be a commercially registered builder. I, on the other hand, have a different view. I won't allow any Tom, Dick, Harry just to do it. I want to have some sort of evidence that they're experienced.
But like for us, like hypothetically, like if it's going to be an office fit out, which is not falling under our license, we're completely capable of doing it. Compared to, I can understand if we're building massive basements and 15 stories,
Four-storey car parks.
totally
or something like
different
that.
conversation.
Oh, what's the height of a fire extinguisher? To the top of the fire extinguisher?
It is 1,200,
Yeah, what's the bottom?
800,
What's the bottom?
800. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Between 100 off the floor
Yeah.
to 1,200.
I've still got no-
And what's the height of the
I've
fire
got no idea.
extinguisher sign up the top to the bottom of it? What's the minimum to the bottom?
Maybe 1,500.
2 metres.
2 meters.
Yeah.
Are you experienced enough to do
No,
commercial work?
but I can also look at the volume 1 of the NCC and know those things.
Is it in volume 1?
Yeah, isn't it? All that stuff's in volume 1, isn't it? Volume 2's
Wouldn't it be in 2444?
got no idea, but didn't you say
I'm pretty
that-
sure it's in 2444.
I'm just asking the question.
No, but what I'm saying is, like, again, if I'm assuming that they've got plans as well, that the plans also dictate these things. Look, I understand.
Well, their plans might say as per AS 2444.
Well, then I go grab the plans, the thing, and read that.
The standard?
Yeah, the standard. Yeah. But
So,
like,
I guess
Disabled handrail
I guess
for a toilet?
I guess
I do.
I guess the point is that
Yeah, I know. I don't know. No, you're just picking me apart.
you
But wouldn't
asked
it be?
the question,
But wouldn't it be?
so-
That would be a meter as well. Wouldn't it be similar to like a handrail for a fall protection?
What standard?
I don't fucking know.
So I guess the point is you've got the discretion and you would want to be satisfied. that-
Yeah, so
that-
I asked
that-
these questions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah. And you know the reason I ask is that we've got a SDA certified home coming up next year.
Yep.
Who got
And
you
I-
that job?
And I actually, Maddie Carlin, I actually see a real opportunity for high performance builders to kind of move into that space. I actually think that we are really well positioned to deliver these buildings.
Childcare centres, number 101.
Even childcare centres too. Like I kind of feel like, and I actually explored last week about how do I get my commercial license.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
get it.
But
Yeah.
the thing is, we've got to show how much experience.
It's a couple of years. Yeah, it's a couple of years, and or
CBL.
yeah, or I need to demonstrate that I've done that. Type
Yeah,
of
CBL. Yeah, but I've thought about the same
Yeah.
CBL too. It's hard to get, and it's a whole business structure change. And
I don't know. I kind of feel like I was talking to Kai from Wilderness Build Co about it. I actually feel like the commercial space needs more builders like us.
yeah, no, I'd also want to go into partnership with a business partner if I was going to go down that road too. I feel
Yeah, okay.
whole different
Yeah.
because we don't know what we don't know in the commercial sector. We know residential. You're dealing with different things when you
Like
get commercial.
in my mind, I'm thinking childcare centres, NDIS based projects.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be a. I reckon I get a lot of fulfilment out of doing those kinds of projects because you're delivering buildings that are healthy, comfortable, low energy for people who I would say are a bit more vulnerable.
Well, I was going to say these are the places that should be built
Yeah.
the way we
Yeah.
schools.
But I guess the reason I brought it up is that as a building surveyor, you have this discretion of what is right and what you feel is right.
Well, what I believe.
What you believe,
My
yeah.
interpretation.
Yeah.
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 Mhm. Yep.
Yeah.
Performance solutions. I feel like we need them for everything these days. Do you want to clarify why we need them? Because I think there's a lot of misconceptions around potential performance solutions. Like my big one is the mechanical ventilation now needs a performance solution because the idiots who wrote the code can't understand that a mechanical ventilation system is running 24/7 and they're all worried about the flow rate at the highest rate. Where the thing is, they're running over a 24-hour period. There's more moisture being extracted.
I'm pretty confident that the code will catch up to that pretty quickly.
Hasn't in the 2025. I was
hasn't?
reading the draft. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, this is. I have a lot of issues with, and I understand architects are wanting to push further with their designs, which is great. They've got to challenge people and what's possible. But I feel like every little thing needs a performance solution these days. And I understand why, because it's putting the pressure on you guys to sign off on something where the code says, hey, well, you can't do that. You asked for a performance solution. And then as it goes back to your comment before, oh, but my other building surveyor signed off on that last time.
Well, that's his discretion.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing.
Well, that's what I get too. You know, why do I have to get a performance solution? My previous building surveyor never been asked for it before.
Go back to them then.
I can't comment on the design. I haven't seen the design. Not my building permit appointment. So
Matt and I live in a bubble, right? We live in this let's call it high performance, healthier home, better building kind of bubble, where everyone that we're dealing with, talking with, seeing on social media are building better
Or trying to.
You obviously see a much broader snapshot of the industry. Do you think we're getting better at building? Having been in the industry for a long time, do you think we're getting better?
Great question.
I'll probably say that in general, builders that are really on the ball and really take pride in their work, I think the amount of finishes and et cetera are raising. Is the building industry getting any better? I'll probably say not particularly. And the reason being is because there are such a shortage of trades that anyone is putting on a nail bag to become a carpenter and say they're a carpenter. Anyone's doing plastering.
You go down to Bunnings, buy your nail gun and woohoo, I'm a carpenter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you know, I really wanted you to say that it was getting better. Like I really wanted to believe.
I know your glass half full.
I really wanted to believe that it was.
I believe it's still stagnant on a straight line.
Yeah, interesting.
Again, we're in our bubble, man.
How?
Because it's like anything. Yeah, good job, not so good. Good job, not so good. You know what I mean?
I don't know if you're going to be able to answer this, but how can we get better? Where's the problem?
I think that before COVID came in, all the subcontractors were going to be registered practitioners.
Yeah,
I read this last night
through the BPC or the BBA back then, and I think the carpenters were the first ones that were booked in, and then all of a sudden COVID hit, and we came out of COVID, and I don't know, got put on the back burner.
Yeah,
you know, because you got to understand that you go to a job, a tradie goes to a job, and he does his job, he gets paid, and he moves on to the next job. And if something actually has occurred, which, you know, it's just the builder or the building surveyor gets obviously dragged into whatever, you know, issues occur. Whereas the tradie just moves on to the next one, and he actually did the work.
So here's the data.
There's no liability.
So here's the data on this. So in late 2018, the Victorian government made amendments to the Building Act to introduce a new registration and licensing scheme for tradespeople. Okay, it's then gone on to say that as of 2022, the Victorian state election, there was a caretaker period. They've actually done every little thing. They've gone through the legislation, development and improvements. They're now just waiting on it to be passed by Victorian Parliament. So it's just sitting there. And this is from 2018. So the full bill is literally here. I'm literally looking at it.
So I guess here's my question then. Do you think licensing of... And let's just be clear, we operate in Victoria, in New South Wales, in Queensland, I'm assuming other states too. It's different. Carpenters need to be licensed?
Nah.
Queensland and New South Wales.
Yeah. But it solves, seriously, like, let's be common sense here. Licensing solves so many issues in our industry. I also think that if you want to have an apprentice or you want to hire carpenters under your business, you should have to be licensed in that trade, because what we speak about is that you have people learning from people who are licensed, not from Tom, Dick and Harry.
Yeah.
I think and we need to spit out, we've got a skill shortage. The more we train people incorrectly, we're not fixing the gap. We're not bridging the gap with these tradespeople, because they're just learning from crap. We need to have them they need to be spitting out quality, not quantity.
Yeah.
And then we can get better as a wider industry. And it shouldn't be just limited to carpenters. Concreters and waterproofers should be on that number 1 and 2 list.
Yeah, plasterers,
tilers,
every trade.
Yeah, it's got here. So implementation, stage 1, carpentry. Stage 2, bricklaying and block laying, waterproofing, wall and floor tiling, concreters, painters and decorators, insulation work, plasterers. Painters and decorators is a bit of an interesting one. Then it's solid plasterers, then roof tiling. Landscaping, demolition work is in stage 3, excavator and earthworks, and then it's floor finisher, trades involved in swimming pool or spas, minor work, and then it's scaffolding, rigging, steel fixer, dogger, crane operator. It's five stages.
I mean, I'm just like that. My brain's going two ways here. One, I think it's great to make people accountable to the work they're doing. But the other thing is, are these people then going to say, well, I'm licensed now, so I'm going to charge more?
That's fine. It weeds out the crap. But at the end of the day, we charge more. We got insurance. So when something goes wrong with you, if your concrete slab fails, who do you go to? You go to Dave. You can't go to your concrete and hold them responsible whatsoever.
But we're sitting here talking about like the building, like building not being accessible because it's so expensive. Is this going to make it more expensive?
It will, because the reason being is the government wants to build so many houses a year.
Yeah, that's why they've held off on this.
No one to build them.
Yeah.
But again,
okay, so then
you build crap, you got to fix crap. You build it fast.
Again, I'm not
fix
asking
it.
to solve the problem, but like, what are some of the things that we could do to get better? Does it start at the TAFEs? Does it start with organisations like SBA or something like that, where you're trying to just bypass like the current way of doing things?
Yeah, look, I suppose if you're really thinking about it, quality control, but that'll slow the job down so much, won't it?
Yeah,
I just think it's simple. You license trades and you have more inspections, and I would have sat here arguing about your point about waterproofing and a building survey should do it, but I totally agree. It needs to be someone independent. I think we can't also just default to putting all the pressure back on the builder, the building surveyor to sign off on everything.
I think with waterproofing, let's say that a building surveyor has to sign off our indemnity insurance will go threefold.
Yeah, and it's already is.
And that's going to have to be passed on to the...
Yeah, I mean, I think this last 2 minutes of conversation actually shows what's wrong with the industry.
And I respect there's no answer, but we can't...
I don't think there's an answer either, but I think all the things that we've just thrown out is just going to make things more expensive.
So I started in a conversation about insurance with someone with the Victorian government at the start of the year. They were more worried about what number we should have our contract price at before we need a contract. I'm like, guys, we're talking about insurance here, not minimum contract works. Like, you're missing the point here.
There's only 2 insurance companies that actually... underwriters that actually do building surveyors.
Really?
In the world.
In the world?
Yes, it's the same as insurance of building for domestic building insurance. It's underwritten by the government because no one has been able to make it profitable.
They just keep bailing out. So that's going to keep happening. Soon it'll be one. And
I think there's only one. I think it's the VMI.
Yeah, so the VMI used to be a VMIA, and there was the other one, the new.
But that
Building
I'm
Act.
talking about building surveys.
Yeah, but now the
but
Building
I'm
Act is
saying
only now one. They've removed the There was 2 that you could get. You could get your VMIA insurance, and what was the other option you could have got?
I can't remember the name of it, but there was another one.
It's Asset Protect or something like that.
Yeah,
Ascent?
Sure.
Can't use that anymore. The new building code, the new bill that's been passed, essentially, from my understanding. And
I think you're right.
We'll get Gary from CCM to come in and talk about it. He's really keen because he wants to explain this issue here, because this new code is changing a lot of things.
I could be a builder.
Or a building surveyor. Now, I want to do a bit of a
It's easier than being on a building site, mate, looking after 200 kids.
Well, talk about kids. This is really interesting now. So, you mentioned at the start that you work with your dad. Must be pretty cool and special to be able to work off him. And you see he was a bit hard at you at times.
Yeah.
Now your 2 kids work for you. Are you as hard on them as your dad was on you?
It's different. It's a different industry, because I did carpentry.
But
So
it's kind of
different.
It kind of relates though, because I feel like you've got to hold your own as a tradie on site. I reckon as a building surveyor, you've got to hold your own even more.
I think I agree with you. I think it's different.
It's different.
I think it's different.
We're pretty close knit.
Oh, I know you are.
So, we all get along. Otherwise, we wouldn't have lasted this long.
Yeah.
So we've been going. So Andrew and I started the business in 2013, I think it was. So 12 years.
Yeah.
And then Matt come on after he finished his schooling and did advanced diploma. Then Rachel, she came back from overseas, and then she started. So
Did you try to talk them out of it?
I think there's also a generational thing that you would have experienced with your dad too. So there's you know, your dad's one or two generations back from where we are right now. So I feel like there is, like, I've bared witness to a father and son on site. So someone my age and his dad.
Well, Beth and her dad.
Yeah, but I'm saying that the experience I had was very typical of that time.
Okay.
Lots of yelling.
Yeah, okay.
Drinking after work, smoking on site, like all of that kind of stuff. Whereas I feel like now that it's different. It's a lot. We're operating in a different environment. Just
Again, we're in the bubble. I find them really awesome to deal with, your two kids. Can you remember the first time they called you out on something and proved you wrong after you guys had a bit of a, no, I'm right, you're right, I'm right? Is there something that you're like, they got
Rachel,
me?
actually. I think Rachel picked up on something that Matt and I were talking about, and she put it in, and I said, oh, no, maybe because of this, and this. But no, she proved us wrong. So, yeah.
Was that like the moment did you feel like, I'm getting old, or is it like, no, like that's awesome?
Well, it was good because that was her interpretation.
Yeah.
And she was correct with that interpretation. And Matt and I had an interpretation, and we were not correct.
And so Matt's now licensed to come out and do inspections because we've had him a fair bit on
He's
site.
registered building surveyor now.
Yeah. And she's going for that now too, Rachel?
She will, hopefully at the end of the year.
And is there a difference between the inspectors that you contract out to look over work and what you do? Is there different classes of registration?
We have Inspector Unlimited.
Yeah.
Out on doing some of our inspection, and Limited.
Yeah.
So they're limited to domestic dwellings, no more than 500 square metres, no more than 2 stories.
So there's a difference between a building inspector and a building surveyor.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so that they
registration.
are different registrations.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I'm a BSL.
Yeah.
So it's Building Surveyor Limited. So I'm limited to maximum 2,000 square metres and 3 stories.
Yeah.
Any class.
Yeah. And as a BSL, you can also be a building inspector.
It automatically is.
It's like us being
is a building inspector.
Yeah, it's like us with our DBU.
Okay.
We can be carpenters.
Yeah.
So your BSL.
So if I go out and do an inspection, when I plop it in our building surveying program for the inspection, it'll say BSL.
Yeah.
Me doing it.
Yeah. Okay.
And Matt is BSL?
He's BSU, so unlimited. But
He's a real
still
boss.
Limited. So he's unlimited domestic dwellings.
Yeah.
So any size, but he's the same limitation as me for commercial, which is 2,000 square metres and 3 stories, any class.
How can that
And
change?
you have a look at that size, and that's perfect.
Yeah.
So you're not going into the bigger stuff. So effectively, with commercial over 2,000 square metres, a building would need a hydrant booster and everything like that.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about reporting consents.
Yeah.
So through fire brigade on some occasions for bigger buildings, so that's that, and that's plenty. That's absolutely plenty.
Why would you want to go? Then you've got to specialise in something, and you obviously specialise mainly in that residential. I think you do a bit of swimming pools as well, don't you?
Yeah, swim pools, retaining walls, decks, verandas, the whole thing. Dwellings, units.
Yeah.
Factories, schools.
They require
commercial swimming pools.
Do they require a bit more work when you're doing those, like big commercial swimming pools? Like, is that just a lot more of you on site?
Anything commercial takes a lot more to assess.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot more time to assess.
And are you doing more on-site inspections at that point, constantly just checking over things, or is it engineers signing off on it?
I'm not trying to do as many inspections because we're just absolutely, since the start of the year, this is the busiest we've ever been, and it hasn't slowed down at all.
What kind of split do you have of resi versus commercial projects?
Well, commercial projects are kind of slowed down, whereas the domestic's really taken off. So, I don't know, maybe 70 domestic. I will include, so it's probably 80-20.
Yep. Yep. And that's interesting that you're saying that you've never been busier, because I feel like more broadly speaking in the industry it's slowed down.
He's probably going to be the last to see it though.
Okay.
I will be the last to see it, but I'm still speaking to designers, architects, and they're saying that it's just so busy. Engineers are saying they're flat out.
Yeah,
But I do
interesting.
have some that saying they're gone quiet. So
Yeah.
So, what stage should we get a building surveyor involved in a project?
well, we're not allowed to be involved in the design. It should be already done.
Okay.
But in saying that, we obviously when we get an application form,
Yeah.
you know, fees are paid, we'll start doing an assessment, and then we'll say, right, you know, missing this,
Yeah,
this,
okay.
this, yeah.
Because
And we can have general conversations,
Yeah.
but we're not allowed to be involved in the design.
Because we like, I mean, I don't know if you remember Dan from our office, we like to make sure that there's no setback issues, no report. We want to know all of that stuff really early on in the process.
Yeah, that's right.
So we can manage for that time at the other end.
That's all well and good. A lot of councils, they want the building surveyor to provide a letter for the non-compliances, which
That's
I
what-
reckon,
so that's-
which
that's
I
what-
reckon is a great idea.
That's what we're looking for
But-
in that stage. Yeah.
But to provide that letter, you have to be appointed. So you can still be appointed as the RBS and do a Part 5 assessment,
Yeah.
which is irrelevant to anything else.
Yeah.
And then you go and get your report and consents, and then in the meantime, during that period, we'll get proper drawings.
That would make so
engineering.
much sense on
Yeah.
every
You
project.
know,
Yeah.
we'll do an assessment. So by the time that they pop out, those report and consents, we just normally have contract and warranty insurance as the last thing before we can apply for a building permit number to the BPC.
Conscious on time, I'm going to wrap this up. If you could change one thing about the NCC in Volume 2, what would it be?
Probably health and amenity. Because sometimes you get, you know, obviously ceiling heights
Yeah.
that are not right, you know, rises in stairs and everything, because they're always probably rises in stairs are probably the ones that you go out to a final and they're always mucked up. They're either over 190 or they're, you know, 180, 185, 190.
Do you measure every tread?
We normally measure every tread, yeah. We measure the rails and that. So probably I'd say maybe that could have a bit more, because maybe they put in the 5 mil rule, but you're not allowed to add more than 10 mil over the whole distance.
So from each rise.
Yeah, so you're going to have 185. Let's say you go
Yeah.
185, you go 190.
There's your 5
Next
mils.
one could be 185, as long as it's not more than 10 mil.
Yeah. Okay.
You know?
Yeah, 'cause yeah.
But yeah, you get over there sometimes, you know, 200.
What?
Yeah.
Well, once again, you know, it might be because they've changed the floor finish on the ground floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And of course, no one's told the stair guy.
My stair guy's always asking, "Give me a sample of the flooring." Always.
I had to sketch
Yeah.
up that because I've got on
Oh.
my house, I've got stone going into timber, but the back of the timber is thinner than the top timber that's then different stone. So we're setting out. So then we got on site and Mark has sat there being like, sample, 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 sample. Yeah, that all works.
Yep.
I think probably the most silliest regulation under Part 5, which is siding, is 85. That if you ever have a room window that doesn't have 1 metre clear of the sky, which is from the gutter to the tidal boundary, you need a report and consent. And when the report and consent goes in, the Minister's Guideline says that you just have to make sure that potentially you've got 10% of the floor area. And of course, you've got all these, that might be a side window or a highlight window. You've got all these big sliding doors across the back, and then you've got windows on the other side. It just, that's a silly one. Because the room already has 10% light and 5% ventilation, right? So why do you need this one window that it's irrelevant,
Yeah.
and it's got to have 1 metre clear to the sky? I think that's probably a silly one. I think we had there was a survey where you could, you know, when all the changes were being made,
Yeah.
and you could actually, I think it was to
They've
building
just,
regs 2018. So
Yeah.
I actually put in, I wanted that one changed,
Yeah.
but it didn't get through.
my pet hate one is justify. I can't understand that when on the walls on boundaries, and we go through this all the time, is what is natural ground level? Like, why don't they work off a datum point off the street that is like, no, this is everything now that you work off rather than natural ground level? That one drives me insane because I can just grab a shovel and move them to it, and all of a sudden ground level's changed.
Yeah, but you can't move the bottom of the plinth to the fence, can you?
What if the fence has been redone? That's why I say I think that every job should have to have a datum. That's your height, and now work off that height and everything post that.
Yeah, but that's a feature survey that gets done before the job.
But
the land surveyor does that, and we normally get a copy of the feature survey.
Yeah.
So we check it. So the drawings may not have an RL right there. They'll just go, right, this is what it is from natural ground level dimension to, you know, obviously roof, wall junction.
Yeah.
And then we'll check it make sure the RL's the same on the thing. We had some where, as a big scenario, like the draft or the designer had done drawings which showed that it was perfect. Everything was perfect, but when
No,
you had
surely
a look at
not.
the feature survey,
Yeah.
it showed that the next door neighbour's land was 600 mil higher. So of course engineering had to be redone because there was had to be a retaining wall for the brickwork.
So, yeah, this is where I think, and look, we're building a lot on boundary. I know where you build.
Sometimes, I mean, I've got a cross section of it, but I'm literally building on the boundary at the moment.
No, you are too, yeah.
Yeah, Clifton Hill is, yeah.
So that's the other thing in relation to protection. You know, like people think that, I'm building on the boundary, I need to serve protection. So the classic word of that is, will there be a significant risk to the adjoining property? And that's what the building surveyor has to determine.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing next door. It's just like,
What's a risk?
there's no significant risk.
We
But it
actually-
depends on how deep you're going, depends on soil profile, etc. You know, so
We literally had this scenario at the moment up in Ferntree Gully, and we're like, we don't need protection works here. And the building surveyor like, no, we do. I'm like, there's no building there.
yeah, but once again,
The
that's
building's-
The building's down
interpretation.
there.
Yeah.
The building's down there.
So we do. So any protection that's required is under Form 6. We have to determine that protection is required.
Yeah.
In our office, we have an in-house same thing. It's exactly the same as the Form 6, but it's not written 100% like it. But it's a determination that protection is not required. So we say exactly why we've deemed protection is not required, and that stays in our file. And
Okay,
and if something happens down
yeah.
the track, as we are asked the question why, well,
Here's your justification.
Your
Here's
filing
my job.
system must be elite. I feel as a building
no,
surveyor.
it's just in the job file in our Exinfo program.
What did you used to use going back like 15 years? Was just everything had to be kept in by paper?
Well, we used to have to send the Section 30 documents. It could be like 400 pages through the council in the mail.
Dave, thanks for coming
Is
in.
that it?
If we want to get onto Dave and his team, how do we get onto you? You're on TikTok? You're rivaling the
not
TikTok.
Instagram. We've
You're
got
right, you're-
Instagram, yeah. So that's a good one. We do some little
Questions?
yeah, we do some questions.
I got one.
and we get a lot of good answers actually. But the one yesterday was good. Someone answered actually correctly, so it was a bit of a trick. But anyway, yeah, we do. Yeah, obviously features out on site.
Yep.
Some nice buildings have been finished and at the start of the job.
What's the best building you've been in? You must see a lot of buildings. There's one building you're like, well, this is my favourite one I've ever walked in.
Probably when I was going from Rego, I walked into the BBA office. That was pretty good.
Let's leave it there.
If you want to get into Dave's team,
let's leave it there.
permit approvals plus. If you can't find it, reach out to Hamish Rye.
Yeah, we have got a
we'll put it all in the show
website,
notes.
so,
yeah. Thank you for coming
Thanks,
on, and
Dave.
thank you for helping us with all our work. Like I think the relationship that we have as builder and surveyor should be what the industry needs. We get along with you guys awesome.
Yeah.
You guys make our life so much easier, and I would suggest any architect should be reaching out to you as a building surveyor. Should be non-negotiable.
But in saying that, if you do something wrong, I'll come down harder.
I know, but that's what I love.